Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
And today we're going to be talking about the 1993 Arnold Schwarzenegger film, Last Action Hero. This was my pick for Devon, who I think had never seen it. But before we get into that conversation, how was you guys' long weekend? Or, Ryan, how was your long weekend? Devon, how was your weekend where we got to celebrate and have barbecues and stuff because America? We won, you lost, get over it.
If it makes you feel better, I found the statue of King George in London.
You did?
I did. Yeah, they have a statue up of him. It's just a guy.
Are you gonna
It's not like great.
Are you gonna visit it frequently?
No, only for 4th of July, and just to casually remind him that we ran him out of money before the war was over.
So every year you'll be back.
I think you could say I'll be back.
You'll be back.
See,
that's a double pun because of Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Boom, double pun.
Yep, double pun.
Best podcast. Good job.
If you're going to be there for a little bit, can you please find some other Americans and then go down there with a rope and just try to get a picture real quick of it looking like you guys trying to topple it over? Don't actually do it, but just take a picture to make it look like you're trying to.
So, I'm taking a mini vacation to London with some of my American friends over here in August. I think this might be something that we do. If you're watching the stream right now, Kevin,
bring a rope.
Bring a rope.
Every picture you take of that statue, just Photoshop some spit coming out of its mouth.
Make it more realistic to Hamilton so everyone recognizes him. Yeah.
So, Devin, did you watch anything recently?
Did. I watched a movie. You guys might have heard of it. It was supposed to come out, I think, a year and a half ago, and it finally came out. It's Quiet Place 2. This was the first movie I had seen in theaters since we saw Tenet together.
Nice. I keep forgetting that we saw Tenet together in theaters.
Yeah. Weird times.
What did you think of A Quiet Place 2 without getting into spoilers? Because I haven't seen it yet. I'm kind of interested in this one. What did you think?
I think if you like the first one, I think you're going to like the second one. I think that it does a decent job of exploring its kind of main theme a little bit more. Okay. It does kind of rely pretty heavily on a gimmick that kind of came out in the first one. But I think that it just has to. You know what I mean? I think it almost has to lean on a little bit of that. But in all, I loved it. The intro part of it, without giving away any spoilers, hit different because of the pandemic. And hit a little harder, I think. But overall, I mean, I thought the story was wonderful. The performances were great. I really liked it.
Okay. Ryan, did you see Quiet Place 1?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any desire to see a second one, or are you like, you know what, it's good?
When I see it, I see it. I'm
sure.
It's not something that I'm going to plan to watch, but it's going to be one of those things where it's if it's easily available on a night that I just happen not really to want to watch anything else, I'll probably watch it unless we do it for this.
Sure.
For when A Quiet Place 3 comes out?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, the movie kind of falls into, part of the movie falls into an issue that I have that I'm working on when it comes to movies, and we'll talk about that when we get to the main topic.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing. So.
All right.
I just think it does. I think the series does a great job of building tension, and I like that.
Yeah, it does. The first one was good at that.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan, have you watched anything?
Yeah. I watched something.
I ask, but I know the answer. So.
Well, I of course. I mean, you've got to get the posters ready, so obviously you have to know. But it's not a new movie. It's 10 years old, actually. Wow. Now that I'm looking at the year. A priest that stars Paul Bettany, one of our favorite actors on Bettany. Sorry, one of our favorite actors on the is on the show. He plays a special ops Catholic priest, to put it very simply. Set in a world where, kind of like Judge Dredd, but instead of having criminals outside the city, they're vampires. and the priests have to be called up to like fight the vampires again. It's very actiony. It's very early 20 teens. It's fun, and it actually reminds me a lot of Legion, which was another movie that Paul was in, where he plays an angel.
Yeah,
that I like a lot too.
I straight up got the two
they're
movies
very
confused.
similar.
Like when you sent this, I was like, "Is that the one where he plays the angel?" And I looked closer at the posters, like, "No, it's not."
Yeah, like I said, it's very early 2000 teens, and it's just a movie that I've always wanted to see, but I never really got the chance. And I finally, Kristen and I were finally able to like sit down and watch it, and it's fun. I mean, you've got the villains played by the guy from The Boys.
Oh, what's his name?
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
Yeah.
Fun.
He plays the villain, and so it's really fun to see him, because I think this was around the time when people were like, "Oh, that's Dredd," because like that was the biggest thing that he did prior.
And this was a good movie? I'm just on its Rotten Tomatoes. I saw it sitting at a solid 15%.
It's a entertaining movie.
Okay, that's a good distinction.
It's not a work of art. It's not anything you're going to walk away from and go, wow, that actually made me think about something. It's not going to do that. That's just going to be, wow, those are really cool effects and some decent acting.
Sold? Really? I mean, sometimes I just like a movie like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's good.
Okay. I wanted to watch a thing. I told you guys about a thing. Had every intention of watching it, but about 3 other movies came out this weekend that I wanted to see, and I didn't get to it. But I know Devon did. So, Devon, what did you think of No Sudden Move?
Am I the only one that watched this movie?
I think you are.
No, you're not.
Oh. I didn't get to.
Too, Ryan.
If any of you spoil it for anything about this movie for me, I will cancel the show.
Ryan, what did you think?
I was actually really impressed.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, 100%. And literally when I watched it, I was like, I hope Ryan watched this because I think he's going to like it.
Mm-hmm. I'll put it to you this way. But you see, like, I wasn't sure I was going to like it until about maybe 30 minutes in, and I was like, oh. Devon, you know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly the part you're talking about, too. There's a part where you're like, okay.
Because, I mean, like, Alan, when you were, like, talking about it before, about, like, the director and, like, what they've done, and YouTube, we're talking about heist movies.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest heist movie person, and I'm just like, oh, man, I'm going to get roped into watching this, too. And then I was like, I'm just going to do a preemptive strike. I'm just going to watch it. And then I was like, oh, wow, this is actually really good.
It's actually pretty good.
Because especially it's not what I thought it was going to be.
There was a character that I didn't know was in the movie, or at least an actor I didn't know was in the movie.
Yeah.
And once that actor showed up, it was just fun. Like it just really did it for me. I don't know. Yeah. I think you're gonna like it, Alan.
I'll probably watch it tonight. I've been
cool.
going nonstop all weekend. Yesterday we took a day trip to the beach, and I live about 4 hours from the beach, so that was
You look a little red.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot worse this morning. I was a lot redder. I look like a lobster. Now I look like I just fell asleep in the tanning bed for like 10 minutes. So, yeah, I'll probably watch that tonight. I barely got through the movie we had to watch for the show today. So, like I was able to squeeze that in at the last second. Like I was getting stuff ready for the show and just had it on my phone while I was pulling in pictures and stuff. So, but I did have something I wanted to talk about watching. That I kind of have a story to tell about this one too. I don't know if I talked about this on the show at all, but a little while ago I went back and rewatched Free Willy.
No, you didn't.
You didn't bring that up. No.
I went back and rewatched Free Willy 1 and 2 a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I grew up with Free Willy. I love that film. It made me super interested in orcas and killer whales, and like I just really love that film, and it holds up. I never realized growing up how much of the whale was animatronics versus actual Keiko in the films. Like I don't think Keiko's in Free Willy 2 at all. I think it's just all animatronics and stock footage of whales. But I went back and rewatched this with adult eyes, and it holds up. It's very entertaining. It's a very heartwarming film about this orphan who doesn't like his mother abandoned him, and you get the orphan story a lot in Hollywood, but you don't get the mother abandoned grown child. Like he's 5 or 6 when she abandons him. So it was like it does a really good job of dealing with his trauma of that, and you really feel this connection that he has with the whale. And then you have the Michael Jackson song, which everyone knows from this. All this to say, watching this with adult eyes, I didn't realize, or I forgot, this film was produced by Richard Donner, who passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
So he passed away at the age of 91. He produced Free Willy, but he was known as a director. We talked about him a few months ago when we talked about Superman the movie and everything that happened with him with that on Superman 2. But it's just some other films that he directed. Lethal Weapon, Lady Hawk, Scrooged, which we talked about on the show.
Yeah.
That was one of Devon's first episodes, I think.
I think it was. I remember that.
The Goonies. I straight up almost texted you guys when I found out he passed away and said to say we're doing the Goonies instead.
I almost texted you when I found out that happened, but I was like, he knows. Alan has to know.
Well, I was at the beach, so I didn't know. I stopped at a rest stop and I got the notification on my phone. Here's the weird thing, though. Like I brought up Free Willy and I said I had a story about this. So we're at Rehoboth Beach yesterday, and we're out in the water, maybe 20 feet off of the shoreline, and there are dolphins like 15 feet away from us.
Whoa.
Out in the water. I've never seen dolphins get this close. What the dolphins were doing was they were herding a school of fish like 3 feet away from us. Like my wife and her friend got attacked by fish. Like to the point where they're like, okay, we're getting out. This is too weird. But you could see like hundreds of fish just jumping out of the water because these dolphins are herding them in. It was amazing.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah.
So you saw them completely massacre a school of fish.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's amazing.
But I was making jokes like I need my harmonica. Like I could just do like the whole Free Willy thing right now and get these dolphins over here.
No, see, I would have. If you see a dolphin, you flip off the flipper. You flip the flipper.
Why? What happens?
No, it's funny. It's a funny pun.
Good.
When somebody asks, why are you giving that dolphin the finger? Be like, what? I'm flipping the flipper. It's a sign of hello to dolphins.
Oh my god.
And just see their reaction.
Okay, getting away from the dolphins. Other films that Richard Donner directed: The Omen. A few episodes. I see in the chat here a few episodes of The Twilight Zone.
Oh.
I'm trying to think which segments he did.
Did he do something on The Wing?
That's what I'm checking. Yes,
he
did.
There's something on the
Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, directed by Richard Donner.
Yep, that's awesome.
See, he also did The Lost Boys, which is close to my heart.
He did not do The Lost Boys.
Did he produce
That's on his thing.
That's Joel Schumacher.
Then why is that on his list?
He might have produced it.
I've never seen Lost Boys.
He was executive producer on The Lost Boys.
Okay, so that's where that comes in.
He executive produced Tales from the Crypt Keeper, Tales from the Crypt, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, neat.
It's not as bad as people make it out to be. Stop it.
It was fine. No, it was fine. I saw it. It was fine.
I believe his wife produced all of the X-Men films, so he was the executive producer on the first X-Men and X-Men Origins. So.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna put in the Donner cut tonight if I don't watch No Sudden Moves.
Oh,
Uh,
probably a good call.
but yeah, so rest in peace, Richard Donner.
It's a shame.
Yeah. But
My only real question on the back of all this, though, is does that scene from Free Willy hit as hard with the Michael Jackson song and the hand? Because that's like I remember like being a kid and like almost crying at that.
I mean, the Michael Jackson song plays over the credits. It's not over that scene.
Oh, I thought it was over that scene.
It might be in the trailer.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, I haven't seen this movie. This is another one I haven't seen for like almost 30 years.
In the chat, Little Miss Moon says she's never seen a Free Willy movie.
We're changing it. We're changing it now. I'm gonna go put it on.
I will say this: I watched Free Willy 1 and 2. I did not get to Free Willy 3 or 4. I know 4 has a completely different whale and completely different cast. It's like Bindi Irwin.
How were there this many Free Willies?
They were direct to VCR. I mean VHS.
No, the first they were all theatrical releases.
4 and 5.
No, there's just 4. It's 3 and 4.
Well, 3 and 4 went to movie theaters?
No, 3 did. 4 did not.
Okay, so I was thinking of 4.
Yeah. 4 came out like 8 years ago. I think
so long.
I think 4 came out around the time that Ryan and I met each other. So back when we were both working retail, I feel like this was
you
one
guys
that
could
came
have
out.
seen it together. You probably
could
saw
have
it at Walmart together.
We did not.
Aw,
But it's probably for the better.
what a shame.
But we're not here to talk about Free Willy.
Blackfish.
I definitely recommend Free Willy 1 and 2. They're fun rewatches.
Too much Free Willy. Not enough Free Willy.
Anyway, let's get into today's topic of Last Action Hero, the 1993 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, pretty much playing himself. This film was directed by. Hold on, IMDb. Quick side note: IMDb updated the website layout, and I don't like it.
Oh no, I know. It was for the last episode we did too. I had to scroll a lot more to find the cool stuff.
Yeah,
I've been using the app on my phone, so I haven't.
Probably the same.
Yeah. All right. So in the Last Action Hero, with the help of a magic ticket, a young movie fan is transported into the fictional world of his favorite action movie character. And if IMDb was laid out right, I would be able to get the character's name right away. Jack Slater. Played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. This film was directed by John McTiernan, who also directed the little action film known as Die Hard.
Oh, interesting.
He directed Die Hard, Predator, this, and the story was written by Zach Penn and Adam Leff, and the screenplay was by one of my favorite screenwriters, Shane Black. The film stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, F. Murray Abraham as the guy who killed Mozart, and Art Carney, with Austin O'Brien playing Danny, the kid who gets sucked into the movie. So this is a film that I have seen once before this episode, but absolutely fell in love with. Ryan, have you seen this movie before?
Yeah, several times. In fact, I burned this movie out when I was a kid for myself because I watched it so much. So I haven't seen this since probably like '96 because I watched it so much as a kid. But it's just as enjoyable as I remember it being. But watching it now with like adult eyes, like Alan did with Free Willy, there are some things in this movie I think I can trace back to some things that irritate me in most films. Like I said before, that I'm like working on, like with the whole thing with the movie Devon you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quiet Place too.
Yeah, which I'll get into once we get into characters and stuff like that.
Good.
But yeah.
Good, because I really want to know. That's really interesting to me.
Okay, so you watched this as a kid on a VHS, right?
Oh, constantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the perfect film that I want to watch on VHS, but I didn't have time to go out and find it at a thrift store, so I just rented it on iTunes. Devon, this is your first time seeing this movie, correct?
Yes.
What did you think of Last Action Hero?
I am really mad at myself that I never watched this earlier in life, because I do so much. Like, I went through a period. I'm still in that period. It doesn't matter. Where I like movies that just take that they just kind of make fun of the genre that they are. So I watched that Isn't It Romantic or whatever movie that was terrible.
Yes.
Literally because I thought it was just going to make fun of rom-coms the whole time. This movie does that, and I'm so mad that it took me this long to watch it. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's the cover of the poster or the VHS. Because I got really serious Adventures in Babysitting vibes, which I know is a good movie. You just cannot convince me of that until I watch it.
But you've never seen it.
But it looks like such a terrible 80s, oh, let's go to the mall. As she, whips her, long blonde curly hair off. And, it doesn't seem like a good movie to me. And, it just falls into that, genre of, cheap plasticky 80s things that I don't like. And this movie felt like it was going to be that based strictly on the cover. I know it's not a valid criticism.
Oh, my only criticism of what you're saying is that you looked at the cover of this,
yes,
and it reminded you of Avengers in Babysitting, but you've never seen Avengers in Babysitting.
I know, but they're the same cover.
No, they're not the same cover.
No, it's the thick black border with the main character really big and a kid in tow. I think
the styles are similar. I think they're all painted posters with the same text font, that early 90s, late 80s text of.
It's like nowadays with the red character, blue character posters, where they do a lot of those. I think what was it, Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker was that.
Force Awakens did it. Dark Phoenix did it. It's the orange. Yeah. It's the teal and orange poster thing. Aladdin did it, and I saw a post where it's Force Awakens, Dark Phoenix, and Aladdin. This is the weirdest trilogy ever. It makes no sense at all. Good. I'm glad you like this. What I fell in love with about this movie is how meta it is. It's very we're gonna make fun of action movies. We're gonna have Arnold Schwarzenegger do it himself. And just watching it, knowing who directed it, they make references to Die Hard. So it's even the director's being meta. Okay, we're gonna talk about Die Hard in this movie, making fun of movies like Die Hard. And poking holes in all of the stuff. And then, for some reason, there's just an animated cat cop walking around Los Angeles.
And a black and white detective, too, which was hysterical.
Voiced by Danny DeVito.
Well, no, the black and white one was Humphrey Bogart, but the cat was...
Yeah. Oh, the black and white, yeah, that one was. The cat was Danny DeVito.
Yeah. So I guess that Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito did 3 films together in the 90s and 80s. Plus, their characters are gonna be seen together in Space Jam 2. So,
are they?
Have we not talked about Space? We'll talk about Space Jam 2 later, but
okay, we'll have to.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be. We'll talk about that later towards the end of the show.
Good.
In the chat, I think the movie works because of its context. It's the first of its kind, and it would feel stale if it was released today. Yeah, I think the meta-ness of this movie is very advanced. It's not something you'd expect from 1993. This is something that you would probably get from a Dan Harmon today, Rick and Morty, Community kind of meta-ness. And it's very complicated. Story-wise, it's kind of hard to follow. But this movie was a box office flop.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It did horribly.
It came out a week after Jurassic Park, which was just bad timing. It cost $85 million estimated to make. In the U.S. and Canada, it made $50 million.
Oh, wow.
Its opening weekend was, it made $15 million. Worldwide, it grossed $137 million. So it made a little bit worldwide, but it did not do well here in the States. But yeah, it came out.
Was it?
Came out the same month as Jurassic Park, so
that makes sense then. I mean, it's Jurassic Park.
Well, that and one of the things that I read earlier today was that they really didn't do that good of advertising for it. Like there were decent trailers, but they didn't really push it too hard, which is making me think that they were just hoping that when people heard Schwarzenegger, that people would just show up. Because this is the early 90s, so I mean that would be a decent thought.
Yeah, and I think it depends on how this would be advertised. Like if you pushed like, hey, here's a wacky adventure where a kid goes into a movie, I'd be like, pass, I've seen Jumanji, I'm out. But like if it's like, hey, this is like a meta commentary on action movies, look at Schwarzenegger go rubber baby buggy bumpers in another movie, I'm on board. Do it.
I wonder what Devon's favorite line of this movie is.
That one. It's that one. I wrote the thing for the Facebook thing. It's that one.
Yeah. All right. So I actually have the box office up from that week. The rounding out the top 5 were Scent of a Woman, Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood Western that I'm going to make you guys watch eventually.
Oh, cool.
The Sylvester Stallone film Cliffhanger.
I love that movie.
And then Last Action Hero with $4 million and Jurassic Park with $12 million. So it's not even like it was close. It was $8 million difference between 1 and 2. So Jurassic Park was just dominating. When dinosaurs ruled the box office in June 1993.
I just want to make a point too. Devon, you
Yes.
would have been a time traveler because Jumanji came out in 95.
Oh, did it really?
This came out in 93.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, wait, what about Pagemaster?
I feel like that was 93.
That would have been around the same time, but I think you are like the only person who would watch the trailer for Last Action Hero, be like, oh, kids get sucked into a movie. Oh, that's the same thing as the kid gets sucked into the book in the library. Like,
just my like awful cynicism comes out. Got it.
Well, I mean, of course, because in
it's your
Pagemaster,
trademark.
The kid's wearing a bunch of like safety stuff, and you would automatically just put yourself in that kid's shoes.
Yes, exactly.
So, you know.
Okay, so this movie, was there anything with the meta-ness of this movie that you guys really enjoyed besides the one-liners and Schwarzenegger being Schwarzenegger? Was there anything that stood out to you? Because for me, it was subtle things in the background. There's the scene where him and the kid are driving, just talking about the funeral of farts. It's weird. And you can just see the cars in the background swerving to avoid him because he's all over the road. And they do that throughout the film. Every time he's driving, the cars behind him are just like stopping and squealing their tires, like hitting their brakes. It's just like little subtle things. Like he has no idea what's going on around him. It's just the background is bending to his will, kind of.
Well, since you brought up the one scene that I was going to bring up for that question, if you were going to ask it, I'll do the other, which is something that they reference where the kid goes, look at the women. Where's all the, like, normal-looking people, like, in this world? And if you, prior to that, when they go into the police station, you've got all of the guys are wearing normal cop clothing, and maybe a few women are, but the rest of them are wearing, like, leather straps.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's just like, this is a movie, and they're just making fun of, like, the way that they would sexualize women in these action movies in the 80s and in the very early 90s. It was perfect.
Devon, how about you?
My favorite bit was, and I feel like this is a little bit of a subtle thing like yours too, Alan, where it's the costuming when they're in the movie world. I really liked, because like everybody was just such a stereotypic version of that thing. Like when they ran Arnold Schwarzenegger back in, like, we need a doctor. Someone showed up in a lab coat and a stethoscope as the doctor. Like They didn't need that. It could have been a doctor. It could have been a policeman with medical training. Like, I think that like trope I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to Alan, to add on what you're talking about, the whole like the cars swerving and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I was going to bring that one up, if this topic came up, is because that's my biggest pet peeve in movies, is when you have the driver and they have a scene where they're talking and the driver looks away from the road for longer than like 2.5 seconds. It makes my anxiety shoot up because I'm always expecting a car accident to happen, because I mean, like, they'll be talking and they'll be turn their head and they'll continue the conversation this long with their hands on the steering wheel and they're still driving and they're still talking to the person next to them before they look straight again. And I mean, that bugs the living daylights out of me. And
in that first chase scene, he straight up lets go of the steering wheel and is turning around shooting the guys behind him, and the kid's like, you're not even touching the steering wheel. It's like, it takes talent. Like,
it's like, does it though?
And don't drive on busy roads.
Yeah. The other is an actual answer. The other thing is just like the kid's quick comment after he falls into the tar pit, where he's just like, tar sticks to some people, and Schwarzenegger's just like wiping it off his face.
Yeah. Oh, and I love how clean he got and how dry his clothes got, just from the few paper towels he had that he just grabbed from nowhere, and
it's just fine.
Yeah.
This movie did so much of that, and I think that's why I like it so much, where there was so much of like, that they did stuff like that as an intentional thing and not as like a lazy shortcut because Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to look good in the next scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved though in this movie, and I completely forgot about until I just watched it, was the Hamlet trailer. I completely forgot about the Hamlet trailer until I watched this again, and I was crying almost. I was laughing so hard throughout that entire.
That's where it had me. It had me at Hamlet. It really did.
To be or not to be. Not to be.
So good.
And just machine guns pop up out of nowhere. It's supposed to be like it's like a period specific like movie, and he's just pulling out like submachine guns.
Oh man, so it's like just so clever with all of that. Well, to be fair, okay. So I wanted to know if you guys experienced this. I don't know if you can remember the first time you watched it, but I didn't know really what kind of movie this was. I didn't know the gimmick with the magic ticket. I didn't know he was going to go into movie world. I just had a feeling that like an action hero played a role in it somehow, and that they were going to be addressing an action hero. So when we got like action hero Hamlet cutaway, I went, oh, this is going to be like UHF. We're going to be doing some, in his own mind cutaways. So then when somebody did actually rob him, I thought, oh, I'm in a cutaway right now. And then spent the next like 10 minutes going, oh my God, did that actually happen?
Yeah.
Did you guys have that? Or was
I had that a little bit this time, because I remember what the bulk of the film was, but I completely forgot about the robbery at the beginning, because it's been several years since I watched this. But I kind of had that same vibe too, like, oh, this seems fake, and then it wasn't.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, okay.
Was it just to like show like character growth? Like, is that why it was there?
I think it was just a bit of bait and switch, because you have that Hamlet thing. And then it makes you question if that was real, and then when it hits you that it is, it's a little bit it carries a little bit more weight.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, but that's not how I took that at all.
How'd you take it?
I took it as just world building. They were showing you the difference. It's like how crappy the kid's life was.
Yeah. Well, and I think
the mom leaves the apartment. The mom leaves the apartment and tells him, "Don't open up the store for anybody but me."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to leave, and they show like a shadow in the hallway walk by, and he tries to leave again, and then he gets pushed in. Yeah, I just figured it was just for the story. It was just like world building / for the character.
I think it is. I agree with that, but I also think it does a good job of showing you what the reality of his world is compared to what he like his dream world of the Hamlet with Schwarzenegger. Like, I think it's a little bit of both. I think I think the argument can be made it's both. It's
Okay.
it's world building and it's like a little bit of a bait and switch.
Okay, so I think the reason why my mind never went there was because I figured that the whole Hamlet thing was him watching that thing in class, being somewhat interested in it because it is film and it is movie, and the kid's very interested in that process, and he fell asleep, and that was a dream. That's how I took that. So
that makes sense then.
So I think that's why my mind never went to the whole like UHF or bait and switch thing. I think that's why I never really got there.
Okay.
On that.
You've also watched this to the point where you broke the VHS tape, so.
Yeah, yeah. So
you are the expert on it.
Like half of this movie, I just remember.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I remember from this movie, and it came up in chat a little bit ago, the Terminator Stallone thing. And I feel like we've talked about this a bit on the show. Before.
I love that bit.
Devon, what did you think of that bit?
So I don't do this often, right? So before I watch a movie, I'll ask Romana, would you like to watch this one with me? And then depending on what it is, I leave a yes or no. This one was a quick no. No, I don't. Fine. That scene came up. I literally ran my laptop over to her. And I'm like, I know you don't want to watch it, but look at the scene. And I loved it. I thought it was so funny. I mean, you guys prepped me for it a little bit, but it's so good.
Yeah.
It kind of encapsulates everything that I like about the movie, where it's like, oh, I get what we're going for here. This is such a weird world.
And it's even funnier that Stallone had Cliffhanger playing at the box office at the same time that this one came out.
It is fun.
And to be honest, I think they could have done the movie Cliffhanger for the movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in for Last Action Hero, and it would have just worked just as well.
I don't know.
It's one of those action movies.
Is it?
Oh my god, it is. I might have you guys do that one, like probably this winter, because they're on like Everest or K2. I know that or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is stupidly entertaining.
I love that.
So what else do you guys want to talk about with Last Action Hero?
So there were a lot of background jokes that I really loved in this that like were kind of like blink and you miss some jokes. And I didn't pick up on all of them, which makes me really want to watch this movie again. But was there any that you liked? Because I picked up on one and went, ha, I feel clever and funny for catching that. And I like that one a lot.
Okay, so what do you mean?
So there's a lot of like kind of like not even one-liners, but like throwaway jokes. So the one I specifically mean is that when they're visiting the daughter, she's like, what is she? Is it skeezy? She keeps calling everyone. She's like, oh, you're skeezy. Are you being skeezy? The daughter?
Yeah.
But so when
she's waiting for a freshman that's named like skeezy or something like that.
Yeah, but then she kept calling people skeezy. Like when he said he said like I watch a lot of like true crime or something like that, or I keep up with true crime or something. She goes, oh, that's skeezy. And she like does that wordplay, and then he shows up in a scene. Like later, they like the cops are there and they're taking his information. It's like it's spelled skeezy, Skee, and I'm like, that's funny. There he is.
Okay, I only remember her saying it in relation to the kid, and then when the doorbell rings and he says that he'll get rid of him for her.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, times I remember her saying.
Yeah, there's definitely that line where like he said, I like because. He said something like, I listen to I watch true crime things, and she goes, ew, that's skeezy. I go, oh, but I do that. Am I skeezy?
Oh, yeah, that's right, because you talk about the newspaper clippings, about how he knows about her dad because he's, like, a big true crime fan. Okay,
something like that.
No, you're right. Sorry, I had to wrap my head around what you were talking about there for a second.
No, I just like the wordplay with it, and that he showed up later. I was like, that's fun.
So I don't know if this is what you're going for, but this is what I have written down as one of my favorite little, like, silly joke things.
Yeah.
And it's when the one henchman in the back of the red pickup truck dies because the ice cream truck blows up, and it's the ice cream cone sticking in the back of its head. Like, it shot out of the ice cream truck because it exploded, and it went right in the back. And then Arnold says, I asked that guy to cone a phrase.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, nailed it.
I think my favorite Schwarzenegger pun in this is after he throws the dead body with the the nerve gas in it into the tar pit,
Oh,
and there's that giant gas bubble that just subsides. He's like, silent but deadly.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to get to the whole thing with like what's in this movie. That is one of the things that I'm realizing, that I think this might be where I get my like for like a certain aspect of film.
Go for it.
This kid's annoying. I'm sorry, but there were like throughout half of this movie, the kid irritates me. And it's not because he's doing anything wrong. It's not that he's a bad actor. It's just, it's annoying kid stuff that I dealt with other kids doing when I was in school that I just never connected with, or I just never understood why it was funny or why it was humorous to other people, and it just annoyed me. This kid does a lot of that, and in the Quiet Place? Yeah, that's the name of the movie, right?
Yeah, Quiet Place.
The older daughter does some stuff like that too. Like it's the thick-headedness. The girl from the Bad Batch character does it a few times where she's just so headstrong that it just she does stuff she shouldn't, but the storyline magically makes it that she was in the right or whatever.
Yeah.
That stuff irritates me, and this kid does that a lot, and I'm wondering if I'm possibly the way that I am towards it because of this movie. Because I did watch it so much as a kid. Because I never connected as a kid watching this, I never connected with the kid. I thought the whole Arnold Schwarzenegger thing was funny.
I think the kid toes a line. I think there's a point where I do appreciate that there's somebody here pointing out, you're in a movie, that thing's gonna happen, that's gonna blow up, you're gonna catch the bad guy, that's the bad guy's house. Like, I appreciate that. I think it might be in the delivery or the direction for the kid, where it never felt like he was like, okay, fine, I know what's gonna happen, that's the bad guy's house, just go in there. He was like, that's the bad guy's house, it's there. And it's like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm precocious. And it's like, oh, stop it. Don't do that.
I mean, he had the introducing credit on this. So this was his first film.
And that's fine.
I think it might be direction then. Because, I mean, those are choices.
Because I've seen other movies where the kids act similar to this. Mm-hmm. And that's where, like, child characters, not actors. Did I say characters or actors?
I think you meant actors.
Well, no. Whenever I see child or young characters in movies, and they start acting like that, like the way you described, it instantly irritates me.
So then let's contrast this to what we watched last week, or compare, I guess. Did the kid character in Terminator 2 annoy you in the same way?
Oh, there are times.
And is the time when he figures out Terminator can do whatever he wants, like step on the can?
It's the way he delivers those lines, and when he's doing the whole, like, you don't say that, you say this.
Yeah,
type
like those
deal.
Kinds of things.
It's those kinds of moments where I'm like, okay, great, a kid. That's fine. He's got to grow out of this. He's got to learn. That's fine, whatever. Or she's got to learn or whatever. But it's just one of those things where it's like, it irritates me, which is funny because if I see a kid acting like that out in like the real world, it makes me laugh a little bit. But when I see it in a theater or a movie, it grinds my gears. I don't know.
I bet I know why. In the real world, you can just walk away. If you're sitting down to watch a movie and that happens, you're stuck with that for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's part of being childless at the age of 36.
So I'm looking at Austin O'Brien's IMDb, and after Last Action Hero, he was in the sequel to My Girl 2, which I've never seen. Ryan, have you seen My Girl 2?
No, he probably does a good job at it. I mean,
okay, so he
probably does a fine job.
You can't answer my question if he gets stung by bees, because if he did, maybe you'd want to go watch that and make up for Last Action Hero.
I might have to sit down and fast forward through the whole movie just to see if he does get stung, and then if he does, I'll go back and resume the film. Come back and.
I like your guys' idea of this the like. Continuations of these movies, the recurring thread of this movie is just kids that get stung by bees. Like, that's the only plot thread that goes from 1 to 2. It's just, here's a movie about a kid, here's another kid, bees.
That's because when it comes to my girl outside of this podcast, the only relation or relationship I have with my girl past watching it for the show is sharing memes where it shows the kid either getting stung or alluding to him getting stung, and then having it say B movie.
Yeah.
That's actually really good.
Ryan is the meme master of the podcast. What is it this week? It's the Dom family memes, right?
Yeah, it's Dom family.
You need to start sharing those to our Facebook page instead of
Please
your personal
do.
page, because they're being shared all over my Facebook feed, and you need to. We need the publicity.
We need the memes.
Yeah, we need the memes.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I saw the first Don family meme like a week ago, and it was a Star Wars one.
Yep.
And then I saw the Jurassic Park one like 3 days after that, and then in the past 48 to 72 hours, it just blew up. Like, everything from my Star Trek to Star Wars meme groups to my Dragon Ball Z and like sport team fan groups all have Don memes in them about family in one way or another. Like, it's the first meme in, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years to have spread its fingers into every aspect of.
Now,
if everyone who saw a Dom family meme in the last 48 hours went to see Fast 9, that movie would be the biggest movie of all time. More people have seen the memes than they have the movie.
And that's what I was thinking. Like, is this going to drive ticket sales, you think? Or are people just be like, this
I have a small conspiracy theory about this. So my thing is that the memes are dumb, and a lot of people consider them non-funny, and that's perfectly fine. Humor is extremely subjective.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is that it is just dumb enough for a quick internet joke that it's perfect for memes, and that's why it exploded, which I would not be surprised if this was engineered, where you had maybe like on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, a few people, maybe like a dozen, make a few memes of like just ridiculousness of Dom doing stuff like that, and then just placing them on the internet and just seeing what happens, and it just took off. Like, that's what I really think happened with this.
Well, the other thing is, like, Universal didn't need like a meme viral marketing campaign for this weekend, because they had the top 3 films with The Forever Purge, The Boss Baby Family Business, and Fast 9.
Those were the top 3 films?
Yeah, and they're all Universal.
We live in the worst timeline.
The only thing, or the one thing that separates Fast 9 or the Fast Furious franchise from those other two, is that the point of ridiculousness that the Fast and the Furious franchise has gone to, there's a lot of not resentment, not animosity, just a lot of like, about the series. And so anything to make fun of it is like was at the boiling point for the past few months. And I really think that's what took off, because almost everybody that I know who love these memes, including myself, roll their eyes at every single next Fast and Furious movie that's coming out, because it's like, can we please stop? Like, can we just end it, or at least do the crossover with Jurassic Park at this at this point, and just be done with both of them, please?
Jump the shark or be done.
Yeah, exactly. Just jump the shark, be done, make almost $1 billion. You'll be good.
I mean, it's a Universal Pictures, so they could literally jump the shark from Jaws.
Oh,
that would be perfect. You know what? Fine. Screw the Jurassic World Fast and the Furious crossover. Have the Fast and the Furious gang pimp out their cars to be submarines and go after Jaws.
Oh, speaking of Jaws, word of caution to everyone out there watching this and listening to this right now. Do not watch Jaws the Revenge. I watched that this week. That was going to be my pick for the beginning of the show, but we wanted to pay tribute to Richard Donner then. So now I'm just going to shit on Jaws the Revenge. It's a horrible movie. Do not watch it, even for bad movies. Like, it's not worth your time. It's so poorly done. Michael Caine's just there for the paycheck. He has one good scene, and it's not enough to make the movie worth it. Like, at one point, he's flying a plane. They decide to land the plane in the water to save Brody's wife. And so he's getting back in the plane, and then the shark jumps up and grabs gets the plane door, and Michael Caine's like, "Oh shit!" And like that's like the only scene that's worth seeing from this movie. The rest of it is just complete garbage.
Now, was it as good as the scene in Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, or is it Mega Octopus versus Giant Shark, whatever, where the shark jumps and takes an airliner down, and
that
one
is
of the passengers
cinematic
looks out
gold,
the window
Ryan.
and says the same exact line?
That scene in that movie is better than the whole of Jaws: The Revenge. I own Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus on Blu-ray. If I ever see a DVD or a Blu-ray of Jaws: Revenge, I'm lighting it on fire. Like I am destroying that.
What did this movie do to you, Alan?
Oh.
Just wasted Michael Caine. Is that the biggest sin?
It's not even that. It takes pieces. It tries to make you remember Jaws 1 by like cutting away to flashbacks of Chief Brody in that film, and comparing his relationship with his son to the grown up son in this one with his daughter. But the way they do it is so haphazard. They like just randomly cut to it. They put a sepia tone on it so you can tell it's from the past. It's so bad. Like the beginning takes place at Christmas, which was kind of cool, but then it just goes downhill from there. Because when I see Christmas in a random movie that I'm not expecting it, I think Shane Black, like Last Action Hero. There's a little bit of that in the opening scene with the school. Like that takes place at Christmas, and that's his trademark. But it's just so bad.
Oh man.
Anybody who loves the Jaws franchise could tell you just stay away from the sequels, just period. And
Jaws
the
2,
further you go, the worse they get.
Jaws 2 is not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. And Jaws 3D is Jaws 3D. Like, it's just campy as hell.
Is this the fourth Jaws that you saw then?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, they get worse as you go. And for a movie that doesn't need a sequel, automatically it's like, well, this isn't really, I haven't really heard of Jaws 2, and Jaws 1 is like so old and everybody loves it, but nobody ever talks about Jaws 2. Well, there's a reason. There's a Jaws 3 and a Jaws 4. just stay away from them.
That's how we felt about Free Willy. I didn't know there's more than one, to be fair. Bringing it back around. Yeah, beginning of the thing.
Free Willy 2 came with the whale pendant on the VHS.
Oh, that's really cool.
Which my sister got taken away from me because she decided to swing it around and chip her tooth. Still don't have my whale pendant.
I can hear how bitter you still are, and that makes me very happy.
I'm extremely bitter about it.
So, I have a question.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back to Last Action Hero.
Mm-hmm. Please.
I want to know what your guys' favorite Arnold enunciation is in this movie. And I know that's very specific and very weird, but I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
When Arnold Schwarzenegger is trying to get rid of the corpse, and he knocks the doctor out to get everybody to look away, he says, "Look, an elephant," but he doesn't pronunciate it elephant. He pronunciates it, and I think I spelled this out right, L-F-funt.
I think for me, you get a glimpse of what Schwarzenegger was going to be as. Why does the picture keep going away? You get the quick glimpse of the governor where he's like, California.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of political joke, not political jokes, but like politician jokes in this. And
yeah,
I'm not surprised, given the.
Well, no, just the way he, like, everyone would make fun of the way he pronounced California. California. Like, I like that one. I also liked every time he tried to say Schwarzenegger as the character.
That was my pick. I liked that a lot. Yeah. Where he just like kept messing it up.
Mm-hmm. So one of the aspects I really like about this is how he also deals with himself and how they actually and how he was fine with it, looking back at himself and saying, "You've caused me a lot of pain."
I was actually really surprised by that line and really liked it. Like, I think it added a lot of, like, I was actually shocked by, like, the emotional depth that was named Jack Slater, like, that he got in the movie. I really like that like character, like, where he had that conversation with the mom and he's like, "I've never just talked to a woman before.
Yeah,
this is kind of nice." I was like, yeah, man, get it, like,
yeah.
And then he like was like he like accepted but like didn't like Arnold. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, like, and those are the parts of this movie that I didn't appreciate as a kid, because I always never really, like, I was like, "Oh, look, he's talking to himself. Isn't that funny?" I never really listened to what he was saying and how he was saying it, and it makes the movie better.
Yeah,
like, it really does make the movie better. And it also makes another movie better that came out the year after this one, which was True Lies, which is another movie that would have been perfect to set in this movie for the film that he was in. True Lies is good. It's one of his better action movies, and it's funny like this. But I feel like some of the stuff that happens in True Lies, you can draw a direct line to, oh, you know, they must have had laughs on set because they must have been filming these things at like the exact same time.
Wow.
Because the one came out in 94 when this came out in 93.
So I think I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think this is my favorite Schwarzenegger movie I've seen.
They're
I think it is.
Get better.
Do they get better?
To me, they do.
So there is a theater out by me. I saw Independence Day at this theater, and they're doing an overnight Schwarzenegger-thon.
What movies?
I don't know what movies. They just like really quick advertised it, but I really want to know what movies, and I kind of want to go.
Do it. No matter what they are, you gotta go.
Even the bad Schwarzenegger movies from the 80s and 90s are watchable. Like, Batman and Robin's not a great movie, but it's worth it just for the ice puns.
It's a good movie. I like it.
Like, they completely butchered the character of Mr. Freeze in that, but it's worth it for what killed the dinosaurs, the Ice Age.
Oh my God.
Which brings me back to the Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger characters being in the same thing. Space Jam 2, they have Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze and Danny DeVito's Penguin at the basketball game. It's in the trailers.
That's so
if you
weird.
Look closely. No, I think you should go to this Schwarzenegger-a-thon. I'm kind of tempted to come with you on that.
Do it.
Like, I'll get a plane ticket and just come over.
Do it.
Yeah, so, going into this, Alan, I didn't know, or at least I don't remember you saying what your like past history was on this before we started recording.
Yeah.
But now that I know, like, you've only seen this once before and you really liked it, I thought you had seen this a few times, like, growing up. So one thing that I was going to say was, if that was the case, which it's not, but I just wanted to kind of like put this in a scale of like where I put it up against like other Schwarzenegger like movies. When it comes to like actual action comedies that he's done, I put True Lies at top, and then this right below it as like his number 2.
Yeah, I would agree with that. For me, it's not so much him that sells this movie. It's the script for me in this one.
Yeah.
And his delivery really helps that, but the Shane Black screenplay really is what sold me on this movie. I think in True Lies, it's a great balance of James Cameron directing, Arnold Schwarzenegger's chemistry with Jamie Lee Curtis, and then like the overall comedy. I think that's a more balanced film and overall better. And it was a hard choice for me last week because it was between this and True Lies. But I went with this because I knew Devon would appreciate this. And I think you're going to appreciate True Lies when we get to that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to take a break from Schwarzenegger after this.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, definitely.
Because I can't keep just breaking out the accent.
Every week we need to.
Well, I added another movie to my list because of this one. And it's not a Schwarzenegger movie. It's a movie that they mention in this. And I'm not sure if either of you guys have seen it. So when they go back to his apartment and they're talking to his mom, he mentions how he witnessed what happened, and then they mention the movie Witness. Have either of you seen the movie Witness with Harrison Ford? I think it was made like 1988.
I know it's Tommy Lee Jones in it too, right?
No, that's The Fugitive.
Is that the Fugitive? Then I don't know it. Nope. Then I don't know what this movie is.
Okay, so
I don't think I have seen. If I have seen Witness, it was a long time ago, and it was on like TNT.
Okay, so and honestly, Witness is one of those movies that if you saw it on TNT, you probably didn't see it the right way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's added to my list, and before Christmas, you guys will be watching Witness. It's good. Like. It's a solid Harrison Ford non-sci-fi movie.
Speaking of movies they mentioned in this, we haven't really talked about the F. Murray Abraham, like that's the guy who killed Mozart thing. Have you guys seen Amadeus?
Oh yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. That was all.
Mozart's goofy.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Any final thoughts on Last Action Hero before we wrap this up?
I like I said, I'm going to plant my flag here because I haven't seen True Lies yet. This is my favorite Schwarzenegger movie. It's the most I've felt for any of his characters on screen ever. I think he's funniest in this. Like, he's not a caricature, and he kind of is when he needs to be. And I love this movie. I'm so happy I watched it.
Yeah, when he is, it's for the benefit of the story. And most of the time, that's not the case. So, yeah. Ryan, final thoughts?
With Devon's opinion about it, with him planting his flag, it works. I mean, it's definitely one of those that I know a lot of people see this as their favorite film. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely like of all Schwarzenegger movies, top 5 or 4 for me. Okay. So,
Ryan, your camera waited until the last minute of the show to freeze.
Now I can dance and just
no one can see.
Nobody can see. Oh, I can actually drink out of my Coke can now.
Yeah. For me, this is a very well done movie that pokes fun at the action genre in the 90s and the 80s. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's worth it for Schwarzenegger's performance. And Charles Dance, who plays the bad guy, which we didn't get to talk about. But Tywin Lannister is the bad guy in this, if you didn't know that. Probably should have led with that.
He's amazing. I absolutely love that actor. It's a shame we didn't really get to talk about him, but he's also part of why I love this movie.
Yeah, it's a great villain performance, which I think is kind of lacking in some Schwarzenegger movies. I think T2 has it, but I can't really think of any other ones that have a great villain presence. But I will say that they offered that role to Alan Rickman, and he turned it down because of the salary. So Charles Dance showed up on set with a T-shirt that said, "Cheaper than Alan Rickman."
I love that.
So, okay. So that does it for this week's episode. Next week is gonna look a little bit different because Devon's gonna be in charge of the videos capturing and streaming.
It's gonna look great.
And we're gonna get him set up so it's gonna be the same layout and all of that you guys see now. But I'm gonna be on vacation, and I didn't want to do a podcast that week, but we're getting our first Marvel film in over a year on Friday. So next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about Marvel Studios' Black Widow. And I'll be calling in from the beach. So tune in for that next Tuesday. Regular time, we're going to be doing it at 6 o'clock. Unless something happens that I need to change it again, like I did this week. But in the meantime, Devon, I think you have some gaming streams planned for our Twitch channel?
I do. So tomorrow we're actually going to be, I'm going to be starting one of my new kind of initiatives. So we did the Sea of Thieves things. I want to thank everybody that tuned in for those. Those were a lot of fun. Appreciate the pirate puns. Thank you, Ryan. And then next thing I'm doing is they added Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty to Fortnite, and dang it, I want me some Rick Sanchez. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Fortnite until I get Rick. It's the quest for Rick, if you will. I'm excited.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
I'm a pickle. That's all I really know.
You did it. You did it.
Yeah. Not only did they add Rick, they also added the Rick dance.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's in the battle pass as well. So I'm going to try to join Devon for that. So make sure to tune in. Make sure to follow us on Twitch, so you can find out when we're going live for that. You can also like us on Facebook, so you can see our live videos there as well. You can follow us on all major podcasting platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch older videos of the show that Twitch doesn't keep up. I think Twitch likes to keep like 2 weeks worth or so.
Like that,
so make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to get more people over there. And until next week, where we talk about the Marvel spy action film, Black Widow. For You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Ha! You didn't know I was going to say that, did you?
Made me so happy.
See you next week.
Bye.